So he said 3 mosques in Harrow, but it's actually more than 150 mosques across the UK, which is absolutely brilliant. So that is really good. Also, I've been told by Miqdad Versi that Visit My Mosque is trending on Twitter, which is excellent. Right, so the next speaker that we're going to have is Reverend John Swarbrick. We have been very fortunate to have welcomed him for various talks previously, including last year's Visit My Mosque, Ramadan, and also for one of our main Friday talks, where he talked about the parallels of Islam today and Methodism in the 18th century. He is a minister at the Methodist Church and looks after the congregation there. So please welcome him with a round of applause.
You're still putting up with me. And may I bring greetings from all the 17 Methodist churches in the Harrow and Hillingdon circuit. Gareth referred to the good relationships which have built up between Christians and Muslims in this area, especially the work we do with the Methodists, the Anglicans, and here at SICM with our regular 2 monthly meetings, and another outing to Kew Gardens planned in May. So we're looking forward to that. I wanted to start really by, I went to a meeting back in early December organised by Harrow Council in conjunction with the Metropolitan Police and the Stop Hate UK group. Some of you may have been at that as well. And one of the unintended consequences of the Brexit vote last summer was the spike in hate crime. And directed where? Well, directed at Jews, at Muslims, at East European people, and members of the LGBT community. Now, maybe it was always lying there under the surface, but it's almost as though the Brexit vote gave an excuse for it to surface. And I think, as was mentioned earlier, we are living in very, I think, uncertain times. All of that suggests things are changing. The rise of populism and nationalism, both on the other side of the Atlantic and elsewhere, I think is worrying. And all those sort of institutions that we've felt in terms of liberal democracy and multilateral institutions, which haven't been perfect by any means, but they have helped maintain the peace since the end of the Second World War broadly. Certainly in Europe, not elsewhere. As I say, nothing is perfect. It seems as though all of these things are up for question in a changing world, and I'd like to think that our communities can be places of resistance to these trends, really, and that we can articulate them and stand shoulder to shoulder against them. I brought it so I get the quote right. One of Trump's closest advisors is a man called Steve Bannon, who says that he's a Leninist. Yes, I want to do away with the state, and that's my goal too, as Lenin did. I want to bring everything crashing down. It's pretty chilling, isn't it, when you have Trump in the White House and Vladimir the Terrible in the Kremlin. And things in between, and whatever's going to happen in France or across Europe, and indeed for the future of this country. Liberal democracy, tolerance, mutual respect, these are vitally important things if we are going to live together, not just at the local level, but at the wider level as well. So I say my hope and prayer is that we continue our local dialogue, but that we're also the people who are going to stand up to this move into, well, at times it feels like a kind of crypto-fascism across the world. I think it's ironic. Wasn't Oswald Mosley the MP for Harrow back in the 1930s? All seems to come round again, doesn't it? But, and I'm sorry if all that sounds depressing, and some of it is, but hang on in there, folks. Hang on in there, and be the people who can make a difference and help us to live together creatively and wonderfully and well. Yeah.